Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.
Let's just do it.
We are gonna do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Yay.
Woo!
Was that like a weird cheer?
I don't know.
Can you imagine, like, it's like a basketball game and people are expecting cheerleaders to run out into the court, and then you and I come out and we're just like, let's just do it. We are gonna do it. And people are like, what is happening?
Boo!
Is this someone's parents? Get them away. Are these basketball booster parents raising money of some sort?
Excuse me, crowd. We've got spirit. Yes, we do.
Oh, wait, we should probably tell people who we are. We're just talking weird.
They know.
If you're here, you know.
Right.
I'm Emily.
And I am Kim.
And we are...
Wild Style.
No.
Oh, Confidently Controversial?
That's the one.
Perfect.
We are a podcast called Confidently Controversial, where we rewatch movies from our youth, and we watch them, and we discuss them, and we laugh, and we love, and we learn.
What a time.
It's really a great concept. How are you doing?
You ask me this every week, and I always say I'm fine, and frankly, I'm not fine.
Are you ever?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, what's going on? Can we talk about it, or do you not want to talk about
We
it?
can talk about it. I mean, but I'm a doctor, and I haven't been able to diagnose myself. I'm just sick to my tummy all the time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I assume it has to do with old age, too.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it.
If you look up, oh, what's the matter with
I just
you?
hurt my neck, because my neck, I can't do things like a normal, and like, it's not as if I'm some sort of bump on a log.
You're not.
Exercise, I stretch.
You do.
I kick and stretch.
You're 50 years old.
Like the almost 50-year-old that I am. And I go to bed at night, and I actually usually sleep with like a heating pad on my neck, because my neck is always
well, you
a
know
problem.
you're not supposed to sleep with a heating pad on you.
I didn't know that. Why
You're not
aren't
supposed
you?
to. You're only supposed to have it on for 20 minutes max.
Why?
It can burn you.
Oh, I can't
And
burn.
discolor your skin.
What color am I gonna be?
Probably light blue.
Great.
No.
I am Mother God. I knew it.
No, my physical therapist, who I see about my back, he told me, he was like, no, more than 20 minutes. It's really not good for you, because then it just like stops being effective.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, then maybe it's
And
stopping
he said,
effective.
don't fall asleep with it on.
But I'm cold all the time, Kim. It's like my blankie.
Get a heated blanket or something. I don't know what to tell you.
Kim, I don't know. All I know is my neck hurts, and it's always like a different muscle every day. All right, we gotta stop.
Guys.
We're stopping.
All right, something positive. Tell me something positive right now.
Positivity is happening.
What are you watching?
What?
What are you watching?
Oh, like on TV?
Yeah.
Seinfeld?
Oh, relevant.
Parks and Rec?
Also relevant.
Community?
Good.
These are the shows we literally we watch them every day.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we're really up with the times.
Okay.
I don't know that I've watched anything new in
I need
quite
you to
a
watch.
bit.
Well, I remember a couple weeks ago I watched Saltburn, and I was like, and you were like, "Do I need to watch it?" And I said no.
I remember, and I trust you.
I changed my mind. I think because I have to listen to the song at the end.
Everyone
morning
talks
now.
about that song.
Murder on the Dance Floor. Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I know. Very good at it. And you have to see the dance, at least watch the last dance scene, and then I need that song to be stuck in your head too, because it's always in my brain.
Okay. I don't know if I want to watch it. I
It's
know the
definitely
one
not
guy.
family friendly.
No, I know that one guy in it. I've realized from seeing the pictures is also the guy who was in. It was the movie with Colin Farrell that was nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards.
The Irish one.
Yes, yeah, the Banshees of
something. I don't know.
It was an excellent film, though I cannot remember the name of the movie,
He's a
but I
weird-looking
loved it.
fella.
He is weird, and in that movie with Colin Farrell, he plays someone who I think he's like mentally challenged in the movie, but it's such a small town. It's just like, yeah, he's just a person who lives here.
So he falls into the same category, I feel, as like Adam Driver and the Bear guy, in that they're not classically good looking.
No, but those are the ones who usually like me.
This has nothing to do with you.
It has everything to do with me.
So they're like not classically good looking, but at the same time they've become this like sex symbol type of fella.
I like that. I enjoy that.
Yeah,
It makes me happy for them.
But it's interesting because I always do that test of like, if I saw this guy in a bar, would I be like, holy smokes, auga? Or would I just be
That's
like,
why I don't go to bars with
I
you.
know. It's embarrassing. Or would I just be like, ugh, gross, I'll go. Or would I just not notice?
I feel like anyone who is able to be in a movie like, even if compared to other movie stars maybe aren't as pretty, I still think that there's something about them.
Right. They
That
put
if you
off, like, an
saw them,
energy.
yeah, that like if you saw them in real life, you'd be like, whoa, that's someone. That's someone. They got some. That kid,
Okay, but
he's got something.
But I'm not saying that they are like someone now. I'm saying like when we were like 23 and they were nobody and they were in a bar.
Would we have hooked up with them?
Yeah.
That's what you think of?
Sometimes.
No, I understand what you're saying. So you don't think you would hook up with him?
Adam Driver, like, he's not classically good looking.
I would hook up with Adam Driver.
I know you would. But it's just a theory, okay?
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, cool. I like that idea. Okay. Well, Kim,
Yeah.
do you know something?
I know a lot of things, I think. What's that?
So, do we want to start talking about the movie now?
Oh, yeah,
I think that's the thing.
let's go for
Like,
it.
let's just do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, here's the thing. Valentine's Day. It's just around the corner.
It's so close.
It'd be like next time we talk to you, it will have been Valentine's
Oh my
Day.
gosh, what are we going to do for Valentine's Day?
I don't know. Will you be my galentine?
No.
Not if you say
Not
it
if
like
you
that.
say it
Oh, now do you do anything for Valentine's Day? Does your husband like get you stuff? Or does he just ignore it?
I don't think he does. I mean, I have a good husband and all that, but Alex, don't tell him I said anything otherwise. He doesn't listen to this podcast. He's not that good of a husband. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he does anything. He's nothing memorable. For a while, he would always give me red roses, which I was just like, that's pretty basic.
Either be creative or get out of here.
Right.
I can't with these
Yeah,
roses.
who do you think I am?
Right. Yeah, I feel like when I was younger, Valentine's Day meant something.
Do you remember in school when you could send flowers to people like around the school?
Absolutely,
That was
do.
crazy. That was just like a form of bullying.
But can I tell you that they still do it?
They do.
Oh yeah, candygrams. I got a thing in
Oh,
my
yeah,
kids'
candygrams.
thing recently.
And
You
it
can
was
send
like different
candy.
colors meant different things. Remember, like
Oh well, they don't do it at that level with my kids'
But
school.
we
But
did
yes,
it.
I do. And it was like
yellow,
purple.
purple.
Yeah, yellow was friend.
Friendship. White was like secret admirer or something
Oh my
like that.
God.
Remember? And then red was love, and pink was like
Yeah.
maybe I like you. I don't know. Maybe I just want to confuse you and make you feel weird for the rest of the.
Do you remember that? Okay, I have not thought about this since
Okay.
we were in high school, but it just jumped into my brain. Do you remember? Probably our senior year in high school.
Your senior
My
year.
senior year. Your junior year.
You're older than me. Yes.
It's true. Wiser. There was like some sort of matchmaker test that everyone took. And this was like a school sanctioned thing where you would take a test and then it would come back with who your perfect matches were.
Oh, that's not our life. That's a movie.
Kim, it was our life and it's something that actually happened.
And who did you get matched with?
I got matched with, I remember, because
Of
I was
course.
like, no, someone wrote their wrong name. It was Juan Valdez, the coffee purveyor. And I remember being like, Juan Valdez, like, and all disappointed. Because it gave you like a top 3. And I feel like we didn't go to that big of a school.
No. No.
There were no surprises
Sure.
in there except for Juan Valdez. And I remember being like, Juan Valdez is my number 1 match. What is this? And it turned out it was Seth Wood, who had written
A fake name?
a fake name. So he was my perfect match. But you don't recall this at all?
No, maybe it was just for seniors.
Maybe it was just for seniors.
They were just like, this crew is not very talented. We should get them married pretty quick.
I know. Well, I mean, I did marry someone I went to high school with, so I guess
Was
it
he
worked.
on your top 3?
I don't remember. I don't
You would
remember.
remember if he was. It would be part of your story.
It would be part of our story. But yeah, he probably wasn't. He probably wasn't.
So did it just match male to female?
Of course it did, Kim. We went to school in the 90s.
I'm just asking. If it was a progressive love test or not.
Kim, you went to the same high school as
I
me.
know.
You know that it wasn't progressive.
So you sat in a classroom and took this test?
I think it was part of, in my recollection, it was like, remember how senior year you would be in the cafeteria
Yeah.
for homeroom, so everyone was together.
Okay.
And I feel like they passed out this quiz to everybody, like just in homeroom.
A teacher.
It was a school-sanctioned thing. They passed it all out, and it was like sponsored by,
Duh.
the Student Legion or something,
Okay.
Passed the thing out, and we all took it, and he handed it back in, and then it was like, we'll give you your results. It was probably like the school newspaper or something. It was some group that was doing it, but it was a school-sanctioned thing. Like Mr. Zebedee's was handing that shit
And
out.
they didn't make it up. It was like a legitimate Scantron or like a real test.
I think it was a Scantron.
Based on science.
Yes, I believe some Scantron science.
The most perfect science.
I used a number 2 pencil and everything.
Oh, wow. This is amazing to me.
You don't remember? It
No,
must
I
have just been a
remember
senior
taking-
year thing.
I remember taking a test that was like an aptitude test, or it was like to tell you like what you should do with your life.
Oh, I don't think I took that. I wish I
Mine told me I
did.
should be a landscape designer.
Oh, you probably be really good at that. I mean, honestly, and honestly, what they were probably doing is they said, "Here's the jobs in Cape May County."
No, I don't think so.
It was all the jobs of all the world.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. But I remember being like, what? This is bullshit.
You look up, Mr. Barber's over there, just like,
Yeah.
come on to horticulture, kid. You're like, no.
Welcome to the dark side.
No, I won't do it.
All right. You were talking about Valentine's Day.
Okay, Valentine's
Sorry.
Day. So anyway, I wanted to pick a movie that was about amour.
That's the last time for that.
Yes, I'm sorry. But I will tell you right now, it's not going to be the last time for that today.
Oh, no.
This movie, though, I would call this movie a perfect movie.
Oh, no.
It's a perfect movie.
All right.
It's one of the movies that I love.
Okay.
It is a movie that we watched a lot when I was younger. Mm-hmm. My mother loves this movie.
Oh, good.
We quote it and watch it to this day. I watched it with my kids, not too long ago, and they loved this movie.
Okay.
It's just a lovable movie
I
in
know
a
what
lot
it
of
is.
ways. What is it? What is it?
The Princess Bride.
No.
Oh, okay.
God,
I like to think that I can guess.
you
Like I
can't.
am the psychic.
Stop it.
Okay.
Like you're a psychic.
Cut that.
Who are you telling? My brother? Eddie, cut that. So this movie is very much comfort food. So maybe we need that today because your belly's bothering you, my neck is bothering you. We just need to be comforted.
Your neck is not bothering me, for the record.
All right. So this film is on Ebert's great films list.
Oh, okay.
He loves it. Everybody loves it. The film was originally called The Bride and the Wolf. Any clue? The Bride and the Wolf. I'm going to keep talking because you don't know what I'm saying. This movie was released in 1987, and it was directed by someone named Norman Jewison, who has...
Juicing?
Not like I'm juicing, like I'm on the stuff, I'm juicing.
Okay.
It's actually spelled, no, it's Norman Jewison.
Whole scene?
No, stop it. He directed such classics as Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, God. What is this crap we're going to watch?
Okay, we're bringing in some very important people.
Is it musical?
Some people who have never been in the who have not entered the podcast yet, but I believe we've discussed at least one of them on the podcast before, which was kind of a thing that made me interested to look at this movie. This movie stars someone who was actually in another movie that we just watched recently, a Miss Olympia Dukakis. And it also stars Miss Cher and Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay.
This movie is
Moonstruck.
Moonstruck. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. That's...
I'm not saying it.
Oh, damn. Okay. So, yes. You've seen this movie.
I haven't.
You've never seen this movie?
No.
Oh, this is bring me joy then, because
Okay.
it's just a delightful film. I think that it's really hard not to
perfect.
love it. I feel as though it's perfect
Okay.
because it's funny. It's also like romantic. There's a makeover scene in this movie,
Oh.
which is, I believe, the quintessential makeover
Okay.
because it's not like, you have makeovers and like I think of like a makeover like a montage
Sure.
kind of a scene, and you think of it like real jokey and everything, and you spin around in the chair. This is more a realistic makeover.
Okay.
And you feel
Okay.
the makeover,
All right.
which I love about this movie. There's so many just wonderful performances, such amazing, like it got nominated for all the Academy Awards when it came out. Cher won an Academy Award for it. I believe Olympia Dukakis won, and the writer of the script won for this as well. But
this
everybody was nominated.
Was this like, this is like very early Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, so Nicolas Cage, he was in Valley Girl, was like his
Yeah.
first thing. And then I
Raising
think
Arizona.
Raising Arizona, he's very young in this. It's a very young Nicolas Cage. It's funny because in reading this, so Cher, this movie role was actually written for Sally Field. Like
Weird.
I know.
Okay.
But ultimately, they hired Cher for it, who was 41 when she did this movie. And she really fought for Nicolas Cage. It was between Nicolas Cage and Peter Gallagher. Do you know him from While You Were Sleeping with the big eyebrows?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was down between the two of them.
Oh,
And
interesting.
the director and everybody really wanted Peter Gallagher.
Sure.
But Cher was like, no, this role, it has to be a little crazy. And Nicolas Cage...
He brings that crazy vibe.
He brings that crazy vibe. And he's just amazing in this movie.
Okay.
I love it. I love it so much, and I'm so excited for you to watch it. I had no idea that you had never seen it before, so this is just wonderful. Yeah, so huge, critically acclaimed movie. All the awards. Also, you know who's in this?
Who?
Frasier's dad. And he attributed getting that role of Frasier. Like he was in this. He was also in another movie, Say Anything,
Yes,
another
he
big
was.
80s movie. But he attributes the exposure he got from this movie to being what kind of ultimately got him into Frasier.
Like 20 years later?
Frasier wasn't 20 years later.
12 years later?
If this was 1987, Frasier probably came out in like 1992 or 3.
Okay. 6 years later?
Okay, you can do math. Good for you.
I can't. It's actually 5 years.
I love the whole look and feel of this movie. It's very beautiful. It is, it's kind of known for its portrayal of Italian American culture. It uses a lot of operatic elements, specifically Puccini's La Bohème. Boom. Kind of.
Boom.
Kind of is a theme throughout. I did a wonderful hand
You
gesture
did, like you're
throughout
conducting
this.
an orchestra.
Yeah, but Cher is great in this role. I think she's not only just so beautiful, but it's just she's captivating in this film. Like there's just no doubt about it. It has that very famous scene, that snap out of it scene where she slaps Nicolas Cage. Oh, you don't remember this?
Is there actual pizza in this movie?
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay.
But there's some Italian
just
restaurants.
the reference to pizza in this song.
Just perhaps the reference of pizza. But it's very much Italian American, like very Italian American. In fact,
you're making the gabagoo hand.
I don't mean to. But Martin Scorsese's parents are actually cameoed in this movie.
Didn't we just watch something that his sister was in?
We did.
That was his sister.
Those Scorseses, they're just all over the place.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. But this movie, the other thing I was interested in this, not only is it because I just love this movie, and it's, as I said before, it's a perfect movie.
Okay.
It's also because Cher was in it. And we were just talking about Cher in our last episode because Cher dated Val Kilmer.
Oh, right.
So I don't know. I find her to be very interesting. She is actually not Italian. She is Armenian.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I just have recently, because of looking into this movie, I've been looking at a lot of pictures of Cher throughout her life. And she is so unique and just beautiful.
Yeah.
And amazing looking. Now, she's been on the scene for a long time. Her birthday, she was born May 20th, 1946. So she's almost exactly 3 years older than my mother. She was born Sherilyn Sarkisian? Not. That's why she dropped that last name. Sure. Because nobody can say it.
And she just doesn't have one.
She just doesn't have one. She's Cher, and she's been Cher for a long time. But she was born in California. Her upbringing was kind of challenging. She had a lot of financial struggle. Her family had a lot of financial struggles. And she also has been very vocal about having dyslexia. And that was a big challenge for her growing up. Now, she kind of went to LA and went out on the scene when she was very young. Mm-hmm. So she was about 16 years old. And when she was 16, she met Sonny Bono.
Yes.
And I read about how they met, and she said that she actually met him at a party that she was at with, and he was like 28. And even before she dated Sonny Bono, she dated Warren Beatty, who was 25 and she was 16. Oh. And they like hooked up. What was happening in the 60s?
Yeah, I mean,
like it was gross.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. Like these men were just like nobody
was paying attention.
Nobody was paying attention or cared. Like, I don't know. Were their mothers just like, what? Or were their mothers just like, I can't.
It's Warren Beatty.
Yeah, it's Warren Beatty. He's got a lot of money. Go ahead. Go hook up with Warren Beatty. Old Warren Beatty.
Well, Cher's big thing is her mom was like, I hope you'll marry a rich man. And she said, Mom, I am a rich man.
Yeah. She's very...
Baller.
She is. And she talks a lot. Like, I was reading a lot of her statements. She really feels very masculine. And she just refers to herself as an alpha male a lot. And that is kind of her purview with a lot of things. It's very interesting. But she said, so she met Sonny Bono at a party. He did not like her. He liked her friend. And then it just so happened he was moving in to like a house or apartment or something next to hers. And as she was like getting kicked out of where she was staying. Oh. So she like knew him from this party and was just like, listen, can I come? I'm getting kicked out. Like, can I come and stay with you? I'm not going to be like a big pain in the butt. Like I'm going to be out doing things. And he was like, well, can you cook and can you clean? Ew. I know. And she was like, yes, although she could not cook.
Sure.
But, so she ended up living there and they were roommates for a long time. It wasn't like they hooked up right away. They were roommates for a long time, but then it became romantic and they were together for a very long time. Even though he was much older, but he was very controlling of her. In fact, when they divorced they had one child. When they divorced, she said it was for usually it's irreconcilable differences, but she says irreconcilable servitude is why she divorced him. But after that, they were able to kind of still be friends. They have a child that they were raising together, Chaz Bono. And, they were very much able to move on for that. She spoke at his funeral and said, lovely things and that he had this impact. And I read something recent where she was talking about her relationship with him. And she just kind of said, yeah, like it was weird. Mm-hmm. And definitely looking back on it, not good in a lot of ways, but it was something that impacted me. So it sounds like she was able to process it and move on from it. But let me tell you something. That lady, she has gotten with some great ones. Okay. Like really great ones. Like I said, Warren Beatty, kind of gross when it happened, but Warren Beatty.
Sure.
Greg Allman is someone else that she was married to. She got with him shortly after she divorced.
Stop saying got with him. Who are you?
I don't know. But anyway, so she married him.
Okay.
He's a member of the Allman Brothers Band. They had another, it was a very tumultuous marriage. It didn't last a long time, but they did have a kid, Elijah Blue Allman, who I think is a musician of some sort.
I don't know.
But he's probably around our age too. Or like, yeah, if he was born in 1975, he was probably like that. She was with Gene Simmons for a while, for like 2 years. And she said that like it was an interesting relationship because they both weren't faithful, but at the same time, like they both really kind of like were into each other. Sure. So, you know, she said, you know, they were both alpha males. So it was, you know, I know. Okay. Weird. She went out with David Geffen, who is actually gay, but they were together for a while. And she said it was a real relationship and they definitely were like very into each other.
They got with each other.
They got with each other again and again and again. But yeah, he was, you know, he was very helpful in helping her to end her business relationship with Sonny Bono.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's kind of
They were like
interesting.
tied together in name, right?
But yeah, and it was in the early 70s when she was together with Geffen. So that was probably like short, you know what I mean? Like she probably really needed his help. But then she's also had like, she's dated a lot of very younger men too. So I think it's interesting. She's kind of turned, she was someone who was young, dated older, and now she's kind of turned the tables on that. And she dates younger men.
Okay.
So we talked about Val Kilmer. She was, you know, definitely with him for a while.
Right.
And then Richie Sambora, who I had forgotten about, but I remember them being together. And they lasted for several years. I guess that was pre-Heather Locklear. He went out with her.
Richie Sambora from the band Brown Jovi. Sorry.
Hashtag Millie Bobby Brown Jovi. Tom Cruise, she dated briefly. And she talked about, it got a lot of media attention. She says he was great. And apparently they're both dyslexic, so that's how they bonded. Not spending a lot of time reading, but spending a lot of time making
How
love.
tall? Do you know how tall she is? She
don't.
seems tall.
I know, we always do this. Like, listeners, let me tell you some of the things that happen behind the scenes. Like, the second Kim and I start watching a movie, we immediately ask Alexa how tall everyone is in the movie because we need perspective.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing we do. She also dated a film producer named Josh Donen. She dated this guy. She's dated a lot of, like, normies. Like, she did this guy they called the Bagel Guy.
Sure.
Who was way younger than her in like the 90s. Now she's dating someone who's like 40 years younger than her.
Yeah, I've
who's
seen
like
a
an
picture.
executive.
Well, is he? I saw a picture recently of her with some guy, and he looked very young.
He is. Yes, he's a lot younger. He's like a music executive guy.
Okay.
So anyway, she's had a lot of achievements. She's done a lot of great things. She's actually known for philanthropic efforts and activism around LGBTQ rights and HIV/AIDS. I've heard wonderful stories of her, like during the height of the AIDS pandemic, going to people's houses. So sounds like a real one. And, you know, obviously a huge influence on pop culture, fashion, music, all of those things. She's kind of wonderful. And I'm excited to watch this movie with you.
I'm very excited too. Yay.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see this movie, so.
Well, I'm glad we're going to watch it today with each other, and I'm glad we're going to talk about it afterwards. And you know what I say, Kim?
What do you say, Emily?
I say, that's amore.
Controversial. Confidently controversial.
Chrissy,
bring me the big knife.
You make me cough.
Everything makes you cough, Kim. Don't blame me.
It's the TV.
How are you?
No, that's the beginning.
Oh, right.
You're doing it wrong.
All right. I'm sorry. We watched a movie.
We did, yes.
What do you think of that movie?
It's fine.
Fine? I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
There's so many just wonderful moments in that movie. I can see it's definitely like different coming into it if you've never seen it before.
Yeah.
There's just something I love about the aesthetic and just everything.
Okay. It was fine. I mean, I wanted to rape about it. I wanted to be like way into it.
I mean, it's no flowers in the attic, but
it's no flowers in the attic. And that's the bar by which I measure all movies.
Absolutely, from here on out. So tell me your thoughts, feelings.
So I liked it. I thought it was I liked that it was like serious, but it was also a little silly. Mm-hmm. Like there's definitely a silly undertone.
Sure.
the wooden hand. Quite silly.
I mean, I feel like that wooden hand is very serious.
You do.
Or it doesn't even look like wood. It's like plastic or resin or something.
Yeah. And then I think that I appreciate the love story, but I also felt like it could have been built up more.
Okay.
Like it was very just like they're in love. And it all happens in the span of like tops 4 days, probably less.
I know, which is something I love about it as well. It is silly, and I think that's part of it. It is fairy tale, just love story, but also not.
Right.
And it's just got all these like working elements to it. It's
like I don't know if that man
crazy.
could have gotten to Sicily, been there for a couple of days, or been there like done some things, turned around and come back in the time that they said he did.
Well, because it's like, okay, so the movie starts and Johnny Camilleri proposes to Loretta, who is Cher, and Danny Aiello.
And she's supposed to be 37 years old, but she looks like she's...
Yeah, like she's let herself go. Well, I think that's part of it. It's like her husband has died. She's just not taking, like she's pretty much just resigned to be an old maid, but then she decides she's going to marry Danny Aiello. But I like how she's just fully like acts like an old wife. Like that's like she's not in love with him. They don't say I love you to each other. Like she's just like, don't eat the fish because you can't eat greasy fish before you go on a plane. Like that's her way of being,
Right.
a girlfriend or something to him. It's just by being like an old wife kind of.
Yeah. And then when they go to get engaged, she's very much just like, you got to do it this way. You got to do it that way.
Yeah.
But she's very worried about superstition and luck.
Yes.
And things, which I also feel like is an interesting theme that runs throughout it, but it's not really strong. It's not like overpowering. And I feel like in a more modern movie, it would have been more like in your face.
Like hit you over the head.
Yeah. Like
there's a lot of subtlety in this movie, which is funny because there's also a lot of not subtlety. Like they themselves as characters, I feel, are not very subtle.
Yeah.
They're, kind of an over the top, Italian American stereotype kind of a thing. All about the family and the way they talk is very stilted. But one of the things that I really have always loved about this movie is throughout, if you watch it, and the more I've seen this movie so many times, and I feel like I don't know when the first time I picked up on it, but now I can never unsee it. Throughout the movie, blue and red are themes throughout.
Okay.
So you see like in the beginning, it's like the men wear ties. She's wearing like a light blue scarf that she has on. Blue tones, even like the tone of the light. There's a lot of blue, but then there'll be this stark red that comes in at different times. And like, so, blue, and then when she has her makeover and she's going over to that side, she wears red.
Red nails.
Red nails, red shoes, everything is red. And it's this idea, like she even says, like, this idea of the wolf, which, like I said, this movie was supposed to be called The Bride and the Wolf. And she talks about like the wolf and this passion, and the passion is like the blood. And she talks about how he was a wolf and that's why his hand got, his fingers got cut off or something because he was a wolf and he chewed off his own hand. But she says, you'll eat the steak, you'll eat it rare, you'll eat it bloody to feed your blood. Like there's a lot of that kind of talk in it. And I feel like that's what the red symbolizes, this passion that wasn't in her life.
Okay.
And the water is just like this it's water, it's calm. The blue. So you have like it, but it's also stable and important. Like water is important to life. Water is rebirth. So you'll see like when in the beginning, a lot of the people in her life are all wearing blue things, like blue ties and blue shirts. And I feel like that's the stability. But then this red comes in at different moments in time, and it's something you need. It's a passion in life. But I love that element of it. Like I feel like there's a lot of that going on with this movie that I just love, and I feel like La Boheme, boom, that music kind of going, La Boheme, that music going throughout is also something as well that I think is great, because it is like she's like this stable person, and then this passionate person who is Nicolas Cage, who is Ronnie Camilleri, comes into her life because Johnny Camerari and Ronnie Camerari, like, they have bad blood between them. They talk about that a lot. We got bad blood. And but Ronnie wants Johnny to be at his wedding. Or no, Johnny wants Ronnie to be at the wedding.
Jesus.
So Cher has to go and find him.
But then she like goes and finds him, and he works in a bakery.
If you want me to do the entire speech, that entire scene, I can do it for
whole
you. Because we do it in our family all the time. Like, we all know it by heart. It's great.
That's crazy. But like, you find him, and he's like all sweaty and making bread.
Because some say bread is life.
They do.
And he
But
bakes
he like
bread.
is immediately like 0 to 60, just like he's just like flies off the handle the first.
He's passion.
Yeah,
He's passion.
Or is he insane?
He's the blood.
He's the wolf.
He's the wolf.
Okay.
Kind of looks like a wolf. Let's talk about Nick Cage for a second. Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
First
is
of
a different
all,
person.
his chest hair plays a role in this movie.
Yeah,
it's a character.
It is a character. And I had a couple of questions about it. A being, is it real?
That's its real chest hair.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
You don't think they like touched it up or gave him a little merkin?
No, I think they shaved it down.
They shaved it
I
down.
think they tried to control what they could not control, which is his passionate chest hair.
Do you think they had to shave other parts of his body, like his back? His back. Make this face at me. His back to like get rid of, because I understand that some men have
Our hirsute.
have a hairy chest.
Sure.
But they tend to be hairy in other places as well. Like their backs.
Maybe. We'll have to ask Nick Cage.
Because he was pretty smooth. Like I feel like it was like almost like notable how like pristine his arms were.
I didn't check out his arm hair. Did you see his arm? It didn't. I feel like the chest hair is so intense.
Yeah, and I also feel like too, like when you first see him, he's wearing a white tank top, formerly known as a wife beater,
formerly known, the artist formerly known,
and you are very like zoned in on his upper arm strength and his back, his crispy back.
because he's a wolf, man.
He is a wolf, and he's got a tattoo across his back as well, and it's a good time.
I mean, yeah, I feel like, and it's funny because I feel like Nicolas Cage is a two-face.
Yeah.
There are some shots of him where I'm just like, that is the derpiest man I've ever seen in my life. And then there's other shots of him in this movie that I'm just like,
know.
I get it. Oof.
Yeah, and I think it's odd because we were talking about that a little bit earlier, like the not classically good looking person who you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick,
And I feel like he is definitely that.
he is. He is. In this movie, I mean, there's definitely some moments in this movie where it's just, I'm all in on Nick Cage.
What's his deal? He's like related to the Coppolas or something?
He's a Coppola. His like
Okay.
actual name is Coppola, like last name is Coppola, I
He's
believe.
a cousin or a nephew or something?
He's in there. I don't know how that Coppola family is, but he's in there somehow. And but he, I mean, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
love that
felt like-
Nick Cage vibe.
Yeah, I mean, Cher was great. I get like she won the Oscar
Yeah.
for this, and she was great. But I feel like there was like Danny Aiello's character was a complete buffoon, and he did that really well because he's not that
You
type.
love Danny Aiello with
I
that.
did. I was like, did he win an award? What's going on with him? How is he doing?
He's pretty great. He's pretty great.
And then at a certain
Yeah.
point, I looked at him. I was like, oh, Danny Aiello is dead.
Is he?
Yes.
When?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
I'm sorry to
I
break
feel
it to
really
you.
sad.
I know, that's the way I
Because I love him in this movie.
Yeah.
It's Johnny Camerari. And he starts scratching his head all weird.
He's a mess.
And he's just like,
He's a
the
mess of
blood
a
is
person."
sometimes not getting to my scalp.
He's a mess of a person. He's like not well done. And my dog is barking.
It's okay.
But yeah, so but I like his character. Like I feel like it was well played. I feel like because that's not who he is in other movies, right?
What else was he in?
Do the Right Thing.
Okay. Yeah, I guess he's in other things.
Yeah.
I can only think of him from this movie.
Right.
I love him in this. Olympia Dukakis,
Yeah.
I mean, she got nominated for stuff, and I like her in this. I think she's
Yeah,
wonderful, but there's so much wonderfulness. And like the dad, I think he was nominated for stuff as well for this. I thought he was very good
Yeah.
as well. It's like delight. Like I just feel like it's the kind of movie that's delightful. But it's not supposed, like, it's like comforting to watch it. You know what I mean? Like the way they talk and like the whole look and feel of it. It's just so nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely dated in the way they like talk about women.
Yeah, right. But I also,
Okay, go ahead.
no, I was going to say like with that, because I was thinking about that as we were watching the movie, because it's very much like when she goes and she meets Ronnie Camerari, Nicolas Cage, and he gets all upset and he does his whole wonderful speech, which, you know, like I said, I'll do it for you anytime you would like me to. And then he's all upset and he's going back to his apartment, which is above the bakery. Or not, yeah, above the bakery, so it must just smell amazing. I mean, they don't even talk about the fact that...
And also they don't talk about the fact that he works at a bakery. Her aunt and uncle own a cheese store of some sort. Let's get these families together and make a delicious charcuterie board.
Oh my God, the sandwich this family could make. Yeah, and I feel like, so she goes upstairs with him and she immediately starts like cooking for him.
Yeah.
And she immediately starts like caretaking him and stepping into that role. And I feel like that is how she is, like, that's what she was doing with Johnny, where she's like, you know, don't eat the fish and make sure you wear a hat. Like she's caretaking to these men in her life, because I feel like that's what she feels she's supposed to do. And you get that from her mom as well, who's like, haven't I been a good wife? Like she knows her husband is cheating on her,
right?
You know, but she's still making the oatmeal, and like she has a chance to cheat on her husband, and she goes, no, I know who I am.
Right.
Like I'm a wife, I'm a mother, like I'm not that thing, which it's just like, but at the same time, it's like, what is that thing that she is? And there's something about it that she's like, no, I'm this thing, and I'm good with that. I want to be that thing. And in watching this, I'm like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think we go to this place of, well, as women, we have to be these strong, independent people, and to caretake for someone is a bad thing.
Right.
But I feel like it's not. There's something noble and beautiful about it, and it is good to be able to take care of people. And you know what? Sometimes you want a man to just like knock a fucking table over and pick you up. All right.
I'm not pointing to the fact that she's a caretaker as the part that's outdated for the women. I'm talking about the fact that the dad's a plumber, which, is he a plumber or is that like a cover for something? Because he doesn't seem like a real plumber. He's like wearing a suit and he like massages the pipes, and he's like, yeah.
I got the sense from that it's like he owns his own thing. Like he's not doing the work. He's just like, he owns the company.
Okay. But anyway, he's like talking to this couple and he's trying to tell them about the pipes.
Yeah.
And what they should do and how expensive it's going to be. And then he comes home and he's like, yeah, it's fine. The husband understood me. The wife, she was trying to be cheap. Like he was like, I was able to connect with the husband. Like basically just like.
Right. But then it's interesting because they call him cheap. Like his dad is mad at him because he won't pay for the wedding.
Right.
And like his wife, Olympia Dukakis, calls him cheap.
Right.
Like with other things, and says, well, he just feels like if he holds on to his money, he'll never die. And that's like a theme throughout it as well. Like holding on to these things, holding on to money. Like why do you chase women? Because men fear death. That's why men chase women.
Well, yeah, that's like the superstition part of it too. Like the, you know, they talk about the moon and this
La bella luna.
You know, the moon's influence on all of this. And I assume this is all happening because it's a full moon.
For like 3 days in a row.
Which that's not the way science works.
But Kim, you know what they say?
What?
When the moon hits your eye, like a big pizza pie. That's amore. And there's no pizza in this movie. I wasn't sure, but there's definitely
slice.
No, but there's a big hunk of cheese when he cuts that big cheese wedge. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
You were making a point. The moon.
Yeah, so the moon.
So the moon. Yeah.
Also, I noticed, and I thought that this was something. So when Cher is going to get her makeover, and like she's going to like find this new life, the beauty salon she goes into is called Cinderella.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I did.
So it's like that's her that's her moment. Like, she goes in there to transform.
That's her fairy godmother.
That's her pumpkin. Yeah.
Yeah, she does. And doesn't she like,
She
I
does.
love it. Even though they're so mean about gray hairs in this movie.
Yeah, they really are.
They really are. But at the same time, they really like, oh my God. She just walks out and she looks, she looks so gorgeous, and she gets like this pretty dress to go to the opera, and it's wonderful.
Well, I also find it very interesting that in this movie they make her quite matronly.
Sure.
With her hair, and she's supposed to be 37. She was actually 41. She's supposed to be 37. Sure. They make her look very old, and they give her the gray hair, and they give her kind of like the aprons and like the button-up look or whatever. It's interesting to me that when Cher went to the Oscars to win her Oscar for this, she wore like the most outrageous dress that she could possibly find, that showed off her body, that was basically like, fuck you.
It was Bob Mackie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, here I am.
Was that the headpiece thing?
No, it was the one that was like, it was one piece, but it was like very sheer in the center, and it had like
dipped low.
Dipped real low, and had like a kind of like a glittery bra top thing, and then almost like a panty over the dress, but with like
bless her
shimmers. So I feel like that's very much speaking to like, you put me, like, I'm in this role where I was this thing. I'm going to show you that I'm not this thing. I'm very much this other thing. Right.
Well, and I also think that's part of the character. Like, she gives that. There's that speech after the opera where she's kind of like, well, she lost herself in the moment, and she ends up sleeping with Ronnie when she first meets him. And then he's kind of like, well, she's like, I can't do this. Like, this was a thing that happened. Right. It's like, I got swept away and it's not going to happen. He's like, all right, like, I just come to the opera with me tonight. I'll never bother you again. Like, I just want to go. And she, she gets her makeover and she goes. And then afterwards, she has a moment where she's like, no, like, I can control what I do. Like, I don't have to get swept up in stuff. Right. I can say who and when and what, and I can decide that I can be in control of things. And he's basically like, no, like, you can't.
He says, get in my bed.
He says, well, but I love the whole...
I'm into it. I'm not gonna lie. That's the best line in the movie for me.
Oh.
She's like, I will. Yes, I will.
Well, I feel like the whole speech he gives before that, like, I get teared up. I think it's beautiful where he's just like, we're here to get ruined by love and to just be swept away by passion sometimes. And we can't control these things sometimes, but it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And you should get in my bed and just do the thing. And she's like, yep.
Like, what else am I going to do now?
What else am I going to do? But it's so, like, that part of it, I think, is a wonderful thing where, we want to say, like, your life is going to go a certain way, and you're going to, and she also talks about how the first time she got married, she waited for love. And she didn't get married till she was 28. And then her first husband died. I know. Her first was younger than both of us got married. And then her first husband died. And she was just like, it was the love. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just made a better choice. And that's how she sees Johnny. Johnny's the stable, smart choice.
Right. And she didn't go, she says, like, she didn't have her wedding. She didn't have a big wedding. She didn't do it the right way. And that's why she had bad luck in that marriage.
Right. But I think the movie kind of says it doesn't matter that happened. Yeah. Like, these things are going to happen. You're going to lose your hand. You're going to lose your fiance is going to, or your husband's going to die. Like, crazy things are going to happen, but like, that's just life, and we just have to roll with it. At the end of the day, it's the family, Kim.
It's the family.
It's the family.
I appreciate in this movie the way that they did the prosthetic hand for Nicolas Cage.
That's just obviously just like
a glove.
Like a glove, yeah.
It very much bothers me in movies when someone has lost an arm or lost a hand or something like that, and you can tell that they just have their hand in their sleeve, or like when they give them a fake hand
because one arm is longer,
like super long. And it really bothers me, and it like distracts me very much.
What kind of shitty movies are you watching where they do that?
It's in Arrested Development when he gets the hook hand.
But it's a goofy movie.
I know, but I still don't like it. I think this distracts. I
Should
think
just put a
that
glove on there.
the technology is available, is all I'm saying, to cover that hand better. Or you need to commit to the acting and bend up your hand enough that you can put on a thing. I don't know. There's gotta be a better way. People.
Commit. Be like Nick Cage and commit to the fake hand.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love this movie so much.
Okay.
God, it's just so like, I don't know. It just makes me happy every time I watch it. And it's funny because there was a moment this morning where I was kind of second guessing my choice, and I was like, I don't know, like,
no, you chose good.
And then I was like, I don't know if I'm but we've talked before about how it's like, what are you in the mood to watch? And I was very like not in the mood to watch this movie this morning. I'll be completely honest. But then after it started going, I was like, nope, I love it. I love everything about it. I am always in the mood for this movie. It is beautiful. It is delightful. It just makes me happy. Yeah. And it was great. And I'm glad to have shared it with you.
I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I know now what all the fuss was about.
Yeah. Snap out of it.
And I will.
And I will. It's funny. I don't even think that that's like the best line in this movie, but that's the most famous line from this movie.
Yeah, and he gets slapped like pretty hard and has no reaction to it. Like, it's kind of like fine.
I feel like Nick Cage is probably like very intense.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to see if I could find information about that, like
his acting
on the scene. But I could I think Cher was right. Like Peter Gallagher.
Yeah.
We love him.
Right.
But I just think that, like Nick Cage is so good in this role. Yeah. Like, he's perfect for it.
I also then feel kind of bad for Peter Gallagher, because then I wonder if his career trajectory would have been a little different.
Possible. I'm sure.
You know?
It's just the way things go.
Yeah. It's just
the way things go.
You know, when you think about it like that, you're just like, oh, I wonder if that was a
moment.
I wonder if he still thinks about it. Is he doing okay?
Oh, Peter's okay. Right, he was on the OC. He's okay.
Yeah, he was in While You Were Sleeping.
It's true. Which is a fantastic movie.
It is.
Before we stop talking about the film, though, I do just want to talk about the last scene in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which was very, it was interesting when I was reading stuff about it. They rehearsed that scene like a play. Like they had someone come in and then the director actually got fined.
I saw.
Because he wouldn't let them break for lunch.
He wanted it to be very perfect and all of the moves and lines and everything to be like everything to be perfectly choreographed.
Right. And it is. And it is.
It is.
You know? I mean, I'm sorry you guys skipped lunch that day, but it was worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Definitely worth it because it's a big scene and there's a lot of people in it and a lot of things to...
It's a lot of energy happening and a lot of things that happen, but I feel like you do get... like, there's so many beats that happen in that. Like, you know, Rose confronts Cosmo about him cheating on her, and then you have, like, the whole, like, Ronnie and whatchamacallit and Cher are there, and, you know, I love Nick Cage in that scene because it's Meet the Parents for the first time, and he's very much acting like that. Like, I would love some oatmeal.
I bet this is going to be terrific or something like that. Just terrific. Yeah.
I know. It's just wonderful.
And then you have the grandpa who is like the wise old Italian grandpa with his like 6 dogs.
Right.
Who was just like brings the wisdom.
He does, but then he cries and he says, I'm so confused. Yeah. And my mom loves that line.
Aww.
Yeah, she does. She does. So Nancy's definitely listening to this one because Nancy loves this movie.
Oh, well, good.
Yes, very much so. Do you want to hear about how this movie connects to Mr. James Spader?
I do, so much.
Okay, this is a big one. I feel like we haven't gone deep
in a while.
Levels? We went deep for this one. And you know why we went deep?
Why?
Because I forgot to look it up. And while I was sitting there, I did it off my head, just with my mind.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So we're going to start with, there's a lot of ways we could have gone.
Yeah, of course.
We started with Nick Cage.
Oh, excellent. Because I was hoping that, because, that'll be a good picture to look at.
I know. And Nick Cage was in a movie called Face Off with John Travolta.
Sure was.
Okay. John Travolta was in the movie Hairspray with Allison Janney. Mm-hmm. Okay. Allison Janney was in American Beauty.
Oh my gosh.
With Peter Gallagher.
Okay.
Who was in Sex, Lies, and Videotape with Mr. James Spader.
Look at you, bringing it all back together at the end.
So that's going to be quite a montage for you to have to do on...
Is that 6?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
Wow.
Five deep.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. There might have been an easier way to get
Yeah,
there, but it was
that's
kind of
okay.
hard. Like, I just couldn't find
Sure.
a good inroad with any of them. So I don't know if James Spader knows any of the people who are in this movie. Like, do you ever think about that? Like, does he hang out with any of them? He doesn't. Like, he
No.
maybe met, like, I think maybe he met Nick Cage.
He knows Nick Cage.
You think so? He has to have. Like, they
Sure.
met at a party or
Come
something.
on, the lifestyle that they led.
Absolutely.
They know each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cher, I can't see him knowing Cher.
Cher doesn't even know who James Spader is.
She doesn't. That hot bitch. I love her so much. I really do have a real big love for
Yeah.
Cher these
If
days.
you have some time, go back and look at her outfits in the 70s. If you want to see some abs and
I know her abs. I was thinking about her abs
I
looking at things
know.
because in the 70s, like
That
like
was
right
the thing.
now, everybody's like there's just everyone knows how you get abs and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
fit and you don't eat carbs and you do all this other stuff. And then you can have these wonderful chiseled abs. But like what were they doing in the 70s? They were doing like Richard Simmons shit, like Jane Fonda
she was
workouts.
probably not eating and smoking.
Well, there was probably some of that.
I
But,
mean, like-
but she had to have done a sit-up, right?
Yeah, I mean, or she just has
Pilates or
great
something.
genetics.
She had to have worked out.
I mean,
Cher,
yeah.
what are your secrets? What did you do?
What did you do in the 70s? She was also like 20.
I know.
So it was mostly that.
Mostly that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Cher, I mean,
That
Sonny
probably helped.
Bono was, he was a record exec. He was like a music guy.
Right.
So,
She was on the scene.
my understanding is there's a lot of cocaine in that world back then.
And cocaine makes you thin.
Yes, it does.
And wild.
And fun.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, don't do drugs, people.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. It also gives you heart attacks.
Sure.
And,
And also,
other-
it'll do something to you where you'll get a hole in your nose and that will like rot a hole in the top of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really disgusting. And you don't want that.
yes, and also my understanding is you could lose a lot of money. Like, yeah.
And teeth, probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think, is cocaine teeth or is teeth meth?
It seems it's always teeth.
It's not
Your
good
teeth
for your
don't
teeth.
like drugs.
Your teeth don't like drugs. They don't like drugs, so don't.
They're not fond of any drug.
They're not.
No.
But you know what, Kim?
What?
What do we have to tell the people?
Goodbye.
What else do we have to tell the
Oh,
people?
okay.
There's more information.
So the website, you're going to go on it if you want to. You're going to visit us on Instagram at Confidently Controversial.
Yes.
You're going to be on the TikTok if Emily ever makes another one.
I don't know if I'll come out of retirement. I've been pretty busy, guys.
At Confidently Contro. We're on the YouTube. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, so come listen to us. Go listen to some back episodes. I highly recommend Flowers in the Attic. If you didn't listen to that one recently,
Right. Do it.
it's a banger.
Yeah.
Go back, listen to that one. I also would like to say, Kim,
Yeah.
it's Valentine's Day. It's coming up.
Oh, it is. Yay.
Be confident.
Okay.
Go up to the person who you love.
Okay.
Tell them that you love them.
Okay. I will.
But
Like
don't
a wolf.
like a wolf.
Okay.
Go be the wolf.
Okay.
But don't be controversial and like do something weird and like
Yeah, like that cult where they're like, if the person denies you, you should still keep
don't,
pestering
the
them.
twin flames. Don't be a twin flame
Right.
and be controversial. But you should definitely do both those things. And you know what? We love you so much and thank you. We'll be your Valentine if you don't have another one.
If you ask nicely.
Nicely.
On your knees with a ring.
Yes, we don't want that bad blood.
The way it's supposed to be.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Confidently controversial.